Hello everybody on YouTube. Today I'm working on this drone that I have. It's a little bit outdated. It's like at least 6 or 8 years old. But the first thing you have to do is calibrate the compass. And that's what I'm doing now. But this thing has been giving me problems for the past couple days, and I have a motor that is sticking. It's not really turning well. Um, so I'm trying to just mess with a little bit and see if I can make sure it's flying good. And you'll see that here in a minute I'm basically not able to do it, and I'm kind of upset about it because this is an expensive drone and I want to do aerial photography with it. But here we go. I got the compass calibrated. That's how you have to do it. You have to spin it around in circles until it calibrates the compasses. And I'm going to fly it here for a minute, and things go pretty well, but the drone is not wanting to stabilize. When it hovers, it's drifting off to one side, and I think that's because it has a bad motor that's not spinning like the rest of them. So I messed with it here for a little bit until the batteries get down. If you look right there when it took off, you can notice that the nose dipped down real hard before it took off. And that's what it's doing. Like every time I try to take it off, it's just nosing straight down. And then when it gets up and hovers, it's still wanting to nose down like that, which causes it to move severely and you can't control it. And so I just had to land it real quick right there because I was losing control and I'm near my house and stuff. So I just set it back down and I'm going to try to slowly take it off again. So I also want to mention that they don't make the battery packs for this drone either anymore, and the batteries are like 6 or 8 years old. I just haven't been using this thing. I'm so busy, and it's been difficult to get this drone running. It's been sitting on a shelf. So the battery pack, it actually looks like it's swollen to me now. Now that I've been recharging it and flying it again, it was really hot and it looks like it's swollen, like it's ready to bust. But anyways, they don't make the batteries anymore. They don't make the propeller cards anymore. They don't make They don't make anything anymore. So anything that I buy is going to have to be aftermarket and similar in nature. I've already looked at batteries, and I have a 7,000 milliamp battery. I think that's what it is. I'm not looking at it right now, but it's a 7,000 mAh. And the batteries that I'm seeing, they all only go up to 5,000. So I don't know if they will work. I mean, the plugs are actually compatible, and I can find a 3-cell 5,000 milliamp battery, and the shape looks similar, but I'm not seeing a 7,000 milliamp. So I need to talk to somebody again who is knowledgeable, because on batteries a lot of times it's like you can find a battery that is overpowered and that's okay, but if it's underpowered, it'll ruin the motors again. Like the motors will all just, blow up basically. They'll catch on fire and smoke, and they may work for a minute, but if they're undervolted or whatever, they'll eventually just burn out. So a 5,000 might be underpowered, and I'm not sure if that's how that works. I mean, so don't quote me on that. Again, I don't know what I'm talking about for sure, but I would like to find the 7,000 milliamp 3-cell LiPo battery, and I don't see any. So that's my next thing. I need extra propellers. I need batteries. And then again, the propeller guards, they don't make anymore for this drone, and they're really flimsy anyways. I mean, that one crash I just had just disintegrated 2 of the propeller guards. And those aren't required, but if it's going to keep crashing, it should help it to save the propellers. But they're gone now, and they don't make them anymore. So I doubt I'll find more of those, and I'll have to fly it without the propeller guards, which means that I'll go through more propellers. And again, I haven't found propellers that are identical yet. I think I found some that are close, but I need to buy new motors, and I have to make sure that those new propellers are going to fit the new motors, and that the battery pack will power the motors. I mean, it's just a lot of really technical knowledge. The whole thing is technical. I mean, it's a professional video drone, and it's advanced. It's for advanced users. It has to be registered with the FAA because it's over a pound. There's all kinds of things. I mean, it's not just a toy. It's not a simple child's toy. I mean, it does all kinds of stuff. So I'm learning how to program it, and if I can get some of this information sorted out, I'm going to maybe try to repair it. But again, I didn't really want to become a full-time professional drone hobbyist. And this is going to take a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of tweaking, repairing. And if it's just going to crash, over and over, it's been in the air for, 10 minutes in the past few days, and it's already crashed twice, burned out a motor, broken 2 propellers, broke the propeller guards, and I'm just trying to figure it out. So I'd like to figure it out and get real smooth with it. But again, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I may give you guys an update. You may never hear anything about this drone again. Who knows? But I'm going to call and ask those questions that I just talked about the battery, about the motors, about the propellers. And if I can get some answers and get some parts up here for, affordable, a relatively same price, I'll give it a try. If not, I mean, if it's going to be, there's no more batteries, the motors are all, $50, $100 plus a piece, and none of them are compatible or the same. The propellers aren't, then I'll just probably have to scrap this thing because it's out of production and it's not working anymore. But that's what I was doing today, and I hope you got the explanation. I know that's a lot of talking. If you know anything about drones, I would love to hear from you in the comments. If you think I can fix this thing, let me know. Say something positive. Appreciate it. So far, things have been going pretty well, but it keeps wanting to drift towards me. So right here, I kind of start to lose control of it a little bit, and it's getting so close to the house and the bushes and everything that I just go ahead and set it down and land it again. And plus, I don't know if you heard the remote control beep, but the drone is low on batteries now, so I'm going to have to recharge it. Again, notice how violently it tilts backwards when it takes off, and that's the problem that I'm having. I can't get it to stop doing that, and ultimately this motor ends up smoking, and I'm going to have to try to buy new motors for this if I'm going to fly it, I think. And that's the point of this video. We'll get to it in a minute, but I really want this thing to work. It's really neat, but I'm going to have to buy new motors, and they don't make this drone anymore, and I'm not real sure what kind of motors are in it. So I'm going to have to try to find something that's compatible, and switching the motors is really intricate. You have to basically solder them into place on the circuit board and cut the wires and hardwire them in. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's pretty easy, but it's just really intricate, and there's tiny little screws, and there's LED lights that are in the way. So it's going to just be a lot of work, and this is going to be a full-time hobby just to try to get this thing going, but I really want to do that. And again, this thing is really outdated. I can buy a new GoPro camera and put on there, but I know there's newer drones. I don't know if they fly easier or what they do that's different. I'm going to try to talk to some people that are more knowledgeable and help me. But I may just need to get a new drone because this thing might be a little antiquated, the technology. So I'll look into getting some new motors if they're not too expensive, and I'll talk to some people, and maybe I just need to go ahead and get a new drone. And by the way, what just happened right there is when the drone kind of crash landed and flipped upside down, the gimbal slash camera mount came off, so you can see me holding it. It's just dangling by the wires. But this thing has a professional gimbal. It's controlled by the remote control, and a camera. I could put a new GoPro camera on it. It's got everything you need. It's just not working right, and the motor is sticking, and they don't make parts anymore. So the propellers, every time it crashes, it's damaging the propellers, and I only have like 3 more propellers, and it takes 2 different kinds of propellers. If you know anything about drones, one spins clockwise and one spins counterclockwise. So these are all questions I need to ask a knowledgeable drone professional. I'm going to do that as soon as possible. But I just recharged the batteries for 45 minutes or an hour or so and tried to get the gimbal all repaired and everything, and here we go. I'm going to start it again. Okay, and that is about the end of the drone. So if you noticed, it took off and tilted forward and came straight at me. And of course, I just can't wait to go out into a big open field. I'm trying to do this in my backyard so I can work on it. And it has hit my house, but that's a whole other story. So I'm just unable to control it anymore. From this point on, every time, excuse me, every time it takes off, it just noses down and wants to fly backwards, and you can't stop it, and I can't get it to level off. And then I noticed that the motor is really not even turning well. The motor stops turning and is smoking. So I'm hoping that maybe the motor is just bad and that I could replace that. I did at one point mess with one of the aileron trim switches, and I'm not a professional drone pilot, and I don't have a lot of experience on this plane, so I don't know what it does, but I would assume when you turn the remote control off, hopefully that setting resets, because I messed with the trim, the aileron trim, so it may be stuck in a down position, but I mean, every time I restart it, it should go back to the standard settings, I would think. And I don't see anything on the remote control screen. I mean, there's all kinds of digital numbers and GPS coordinates and altitude and camera settings and everything on the remote control, but I don't see anything that changes when I mess with those aileron settings. I mean, the numbers don't zero out or anything, so I can't tell where it is set. All I'm hoping is that when I reset the drone that the aileron settings will reset. But again, I sit here and mess with it several more times, and all it does is just nose down straight into the grass, and I basically just kind of give up and realize that then the motor starts smoking, and I just go, this isn't going to work. So I take it inside, and I'm going to have to do serious repairs on it or buy a new drone. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the crash. I'm just going to lay it all out there on the line. I'm doing everything I can to fly this thing, and it's completely uncontrollable. I mean, I'm doing all I can, and it's wanting to fly in one direction, and you can't control it because it just wants to go. And even if you, I mean, you can try to reverse the direction and get it to fly backwards, but then you have to hold your thumb perfectly still, and you can't move it left and right. And if you move it left and right, it starts moving diagonal in the wrong direction, and it's just a mess. I mean, it becomes a totally out of control mess, as you just saw. I mean, I can't make it stop. So have a good day. If I have any updates on this, I'll let you know. I mean, I don't know. Again, if I replace the motors, I could maybe do a video on it. There's some other videos on drone repair out there. I'm not sure if I'll even try. I'm not sure if the motors will work. If you find it interesting, let me know in the comments, and maybe I can show some more. But this was the end of my depressing day. Say something to make me feel good, because the drone is broken and it put a crack in my vinyl siding on my house, and I just really wanted this to work. So I'll see you guys next time. Right now what I'm doing is messing with that aileron trim switch. You can see me looking at the screen, and I'm trying to see if any values are changing, so they're all set to 0 or whatever, but nothing changes. There's nothing that indicates what position the aileron trim switch is in. So it's pretty frustrating for me right now. But I'm going to keep trying a little bit more, and I might price some motors and see if I can put a new motor in it, because it was such a nice drone at the time. And you know, if I can get a cheap motor, oh, there's a bumblebee living in my wood. If I can get a cheap motor, I'll try one more time. Again, thanks for watching. Have a good one.